It's fun because things are actually happening. Very different than most of the time when people get elected.
And I will shut down the federal Department of Education and we will move everything back to the state.
Most of the time when people get elected, they claim all these things when they're running for president. Then they get into office and not much changes.
Individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
And in fact, a lot of what they campaigned on, they don't practice at all. Great example is the Obama administration. The Hope and Change website had to be changed because there was a bunch of stuff in there about whistleblowers.
No, I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks. My preference would have been for a lawful, orderly examination of these laws.
Protecting whistleblowers, which they didn't do at all. There was one of the worst administrations for whistleblowers.
Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David tear apart Barack Obama's carefully crafted image, exposing the cracks behind the polished speeches and empty promises. They shred through his failed policies, his legacy of division, and his obsession with personal branding over real leadership. What's left is not the icon his fans worship, but a hollow figure who sold America on hope while delivering disappointment. The myth of Obama doesn't just fade, it gets obliterated beyond repair.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. I did just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump.
The childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
when he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling the watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Talking to Rogan, and Joe says, look, let's face it, Obama was one of our best presidents we've had. When him and I are, I'm paraphrasing, to now switching from that was just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even a year ago, to now this message here. Go ahead, Rob.
We did trust the government, but there's this, which is such a weird thing to say. You know, I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Barack Obama has spent years coasting on an image so polished it could blind people to the cracks underneath. He was the president who promised hope, change, unity, and progress. But when Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David rip into him, the illusion vanishes fast. Obama isn't the flawless icon his supporters worship. He's the politician who mastered presentation while fumbling substance. A man who built a brand on charisma, but left behind a record that reads like one long cautionary tale.
Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank. You never seen it?
No.
It's amazing. He gets a glass of Flint tap water. I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I'm still waiting for my water. I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? No, you bring water on stage with it.
Rogan doesn't waste time pretending Obama was special. He tears into the way Obama floated into the presidency on slogans instead of solutions. Obama didn't win because of policies. He won because he knew how to sound good. He wasn't a statesman, he was a salesman, a man who treated speeches like products, who understood that delivering lines with a calm, cool tone could hypnotize crowds into thinking they'd just witnessed greatness. But as Rogan makes clear, speeches don't feed families, slogans don't secure borders, and charisma doesn't pay bills. Obama sold the dream, cashed the check, and left America with the hangover.
There is what Obama said on the same video. There is what Trump actually said. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. And he's talking about George Washington. He said George Washington had slaves. Let's play it.
On both sides of a white supremacist rally.
Had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down a very, very important statue from Robert E. Lee to another name. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Excuse me, how about Thomas Jefferson? Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists. The news has said that lie over and over and over and over and over again. The mainstream corporate-controlled news that wanted this narrative said that over and over and over again. They repeated it.
Patrick Bet-David sharpens the blade further. He points out the arrogance behind the Obama brand, the smugness that oozed from every carefully staged appearance. Obama didn't just campaign, he cultivated a cult of personality. He presented himself as history's chosen one, a man above politics, a symbol of everything America supposedly needed. But behind the slick marketing was mediocrity wrapped in eloquence. Bet-David doesn't hold back. Obama was less leader and more influencer, a pioneer of style over substance politics that turned the presidency into a performance.
Tell me what place Trump wouldn't go to on media where they would trash him. Where would he not go to? Would he not go to CNN? Would he not go to MSNBC? Would he not go to Jimmy Fallon? Would he not go to Jimmy Kimmel? Would he not go to? Would he not? He went everywhere, right? Now, let me flip this on you. How many times have you seen Obama, Clinton, Hillary, any of those guys
Biden
go on Fox ever? How many times? The answer is never.
And the failures weren't hidden. They were everywhere. Take healthcare. Obama's so-called signature achievement. It was supposed to fix everything, lower costs, and protect families. Instead, it became a bureaucratic mess that left millions frustrated, overpaying, or flat out losing coverage. Obama's promises fell apart the moment reality arrived. Rogan rips the hypocrisy wide open. A president who promised you could keep your doctor, keep your plan, and save money ended up delivering the opposite. That wasn't transformation, it was deception dressed up with good lighting and applause.
I think the best people age the hardest. I think Obama was probably like a very idealistic young man
Oh, Lord, what's going on now? Who's hollering? I can't even see it.
who really wanted to change the world. And that dude aged more than anybody.
I mean, I'm getting old, so I can't hear that well. I can't see that good.
Who aged the least? Trump just
This is something that
just brushed that shit off his shoulders like it was nothing.
Foreign policy? Bet-David laughs at the idea that Obama was some enlightened strategist. His record is littered with disasters. The rise of ISIS, the chaos of Libya, the embarrassment of Syria, where he drew a red line and then erased it with cowardice. He bowed out when strength was needed and meddled when restraint would have worked. He didn't bring peace. He left behind chaos. The Nobel Peace Prize he received before doing anything meaningful wasn't just ironic, it was a cosmic joke. Obama loved being adored, but adoration isn't leadership. He wanted to be remembered as a visionary, but vision without execution is just delusion. Bet-David crushes the myth of Obama as a unifier. He didn't heal divisions, he deepened them. Race relations worsened. Trust in government cratered. Political polarization hardened. Obama talked endlessly about bringing people together, but his leadership left Americans more divided than ever. He wasn't a bridge builder, he was a divider cloaked in rhetoric. He created space for resentment to grow, and when it did, he acted shocked, as though it wasn't his own failures fueling it.
These guys, because America to me is movies, but they got arrogance. And they moved like they're going to control you forever. Abusive policies, the LGBTQ agenda, the woke policies. And by the way, Peter Thiel said it best when he was on a podcast with Barry Weiss. He said, you realize when Musk got up and he says, this is the most monumental election of all time. Peter Thiel, who's a billionaire, very important guy behind closed doors.
And then there's the Democratic Party itself. Obama was supposed to be the future of Democratic dominance, the leader who would solidify their hold on power for a generation. Instead, the party collapsed under him. By the time he left office, Democrats had lost the House, the Senate, and a record number of state legislatures and governorships. Bet-David makes it clear, Obama was the smiling face of Democratic decay. The man who looked good while his party fell apart. He lectures Americans about climate change from his private jets. He warns about economic hardship while pocketing millions. Rogan doesn't need to exaggerate. Obama's hypocrisy writes its own jokes. People turned into a caricature of elite indulgence, the professor of humility living as a billionaire celebrity. What makes it worse is the smugness that never left. Obama still struts onto stages, wagging his finger at America, telling people how to live, warning about threats to democracy as if he wasn't part of the rot himself.
You know, Peter Thiel was on Barry Weiss, a great podcast they did. He said, the last time identity politics worked was in 2008. It hasn't worked since 2008. 2008?
Obama.
He's saying Obama. And here's why he said it worked in 2008. He made such an interesting point. He said the reason why identity politics worked in 2008 was because Obama could go up there and saying, I'm the black person you've been waiting to vote for. And then he can go and says, I don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, straight, gay, well, you know, and then he would go to, and the reason why he could get away with it in 2008 was because social media wasn't yet at a point where things would go instant and you'd be held accountable.
He positions himself as the wise elder, the voice of reason, the one man who truly gets it. But as Rogan points out, Obama doesn't get it. He created it. He birthed the shallow politics of performance, the influencer presidency, the endless cycle of speeches without solutions. Bet-David pushes even deeper into the illusion. Obama was never a revolutionary, he was a marketer. His real skill wasn't governing, it was selling himself. He perfected the art of branding politics, creating an aura that made voters feel good while delivering very little. His presidency didn't uplift the working class, it betrayed them. Wall Street thrived, elites prospered, Silicon Valley bloomed, but ordinary Americans watched jobs vanish, wages stagnate, and costs rise. Obama's America was good for the wealthy, devastating for everyone else. Obama turned his presidency into a personal brand, and when the White House ended, he cashed out. He's not remembered for bold policies or world-shaping decisions. He's remembered for speeches, slogans, and the carefully crafted image of being cool. But cool doesn't feed families, doesn't secure the border, doesn't stop wars, doesn't rebuild trust in government. Cool fades, and when it did, Obama was left exposed as nothing more than an empty suit.
Do you remember when they gave that speech, when he gave a speech on television and everybody was like, fuck this? And then they go, it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up and stopped a war from happening.
Today, I authorize the armed forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya in support of an international effort to protect Libyan civilians.
The myth of Obama was always fragile, and Rogan and Bet-David don't just poke at it, they demolish it. They show the world that behind the oratory was a politician who failed to deliver, behind the branding was a record of weakness, and behind the smile was a man more interested in being remembered than in actually making change. Obama didn't save America, he sold it a product. And like every overhyped product, once the shine wore off, the flaws were impossible to ignore. In the end, Obama doesn't stand as the giant he imagined. He stands as a warning sign. A reminder that charisma is not competence, that speeches are not solutions, that branding is not leadership. Rogan and Bet-David expose him not as the savior of a generation, but as the salesman who peddled hope, delivered disappointment, and walked away richer than ever. The illusion is dead, the myth is gone, and what remains is the hollow truth. Barack Obama was never the leader America needed, just the performer it fell for. Rogan and Bet-David hammer home the reality that Obama's legacy is not just weak, it is hollow.
And Biden got lucky.
Yeah.
It was such a profound moment. Meaning, now what took place? Guess who lost all credibility in the room behind closed doors when everybody's waiting to see what he and she have to say? Guess who they are? Barack Obama and
Hillary?
and Michelle.
Oh, Michelle.
You used to sit in a room and you'd say something Schumer, you'd say something Pelosi, you'd say something Hillary, you'd say something Bill, you'd say something, everybody's like, Barack, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
The last one you go to, right? And I was like, hey, you guys just go live at your Martha's Vineyard type of stuff.
Yeah.
Your strategy didn't work.
The aura of intellectual brilliance he cultivated was less about strategy and more about survival. He surfed the wave of charisma, but when the tide went out, the coastline of failure was exposed. His presidency left behind communities more divided, promises unkept, and an America that couldn't even remember what he stood for outside of slogans. The hope and change mantra aged into nothing but irony. The duo doesn't spare his post-presidency act either. The lavish speaking fees, the Netflix deals, the mansion by the beach while lecturing on climate change, all of it reeks of a man who cashed in on his brand the second he left office. Obama wasn't trying to change America, he was trying to build a personal empire. The Democratic Party learned the hard way that Obama could inspire crowds but not build lasting infrastructure. He left them gutted, leaderless, and scrambling for relevance. If you need proof, look at the chaos they endure every election cycle. That's the Obama legacy. A party addicted to his image, crippled without his presence, and still confused about how they ended up here.
To volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what? If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country. Yeah. We used to think he was actually running the country. And now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto pen.
Obama's second term, he did none. Obama's first term, I think he did one. And Bush's first and second term, he did none on day one. This guy's come out the gates. One moment he's talking to World Economic Forum. Another second you're looking at him, he's talking to California, chewing out, Bass and Mayor Bass and talking to the folks there. Next minute he's in Vegas talking about no tax on tips. Next minute you're seeing him talking to military folks. Next minute you're seeing him on the media.
Bet-David takes it further, comparing Obama to a master salesman who closed the deal but never delivered the product. The box looked beautiful, the wrapping was flawless, the pitch was smooth, but inside was emptiness. Americans bought in, only to realize they'd been scammed by the best political marketer of modern times. He turned the presidency into a performance, a TED Talk on steroids where applause mattered more than accomplishment. They shred apart the myth that Obama was some untouchable statesman. If anything, he was the epitome of style over substance. A man who could win over celebrities, dominate late-night comedy circuits, and earn magazine covers, but who stumbled when it came to actual governance. His charm might have secured history books, but history will not be kind when the results are measured, because when the metrics are stripped of spin, his failures are too glaring to ignore. Rogan doesn't let the hypocrisy slide either.
Kamala!
Well, hi!
Hey there!
Hi.
Aw, hi, you're both together.
Come
Well,
on.
it's good
How many times has she done that walk? What do you
I
think?
can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. The words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express.
And we're gonna have some
thank
fun.
you both.
Say it.
It means so much. And we're gonna have some fun with this
That's
too.
right. So obviously, she's not a professional actress. Probably did 10, 20, 30 takes. This is a business of can't stand each other behind closed doors.
The self-proclaimed champion of the underdog never minded rubbing shoulders with elites, vacationing with billionaires, and thriving in the very circles he once pretended to challenge. His brand of leadership wasn't about lifting people up, it was about making sure his seat at the table was permanent. And the funniest part? Even his speeches sound outdated now. The same pauses, the same cadences, the same rehearsed punchlines, they no longer dazzle. They feel like reruns of a show that once had primetime appeal, but now just clutters the rerun slots. The magic act expired, and all that's left is the faint memory of what once seemed like brilliance, but now looks like trickery. By the end of Rogan and Bet-David's dismantling, the image of Obama as a towering figure is gone. In its place stands a man whose greatest success was convincing people he was something more than he was. A man who promised transformation and delivered stagnation. A man who framed himself as larger than history, but may ultimately be remembered as little more than a fleeting brand, an overpriced illusion America can finally see through. The final blow lands hard. Obama is not the political giant his admirers paint him to be. He's the perfect case study in how image can conquer substance for a time, but not forever. Because eventually, the truth comes out, and no amount of branding can cover the hollowness of a legacy built on air.